Check.
Check.
1960s,
1960s,
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
One of
One
the
of the
bloodiest civil wars that mankind has ever seen. However, there's a ceasefire announcement for 48 hours. The separatists are allowed to cross the bridge and enter the mainland to watch one man play football, to watch one man ply his trade. Era Centro di Nascimento, Pele. Two warring factions, sworn to burn each other to the ground, lay down their arms just to watch one man play his sport. And this is not an isolated incident. In 2005, Didier Drogba pleaded to a war-torn Ivory Coast to stop fighting and support the nation because they qualified for the FIFA World Cup. And people listened to him. This is the power of sport. A very quick walk through history tells you that sport can mean so much for a nation. 1966, England is lifted by a World Cup win. 1968, Mexico hosts the Olympics and proves to the world that they are not a nation of drug peddlers, they are not a nation of gardeners. 1992, Barcelona Olympics transforms the transportation system of the city. 2000 Olympics, Sydney, Australia proves to the world that they are developed enough to host an event of such a magnitude. And these are my macro events. I have a personal experience to share. I had a friend whose father had a very unfortunate experience with the Bombay riots. And on any average day, even the mention of a particular surname, let's say Khan or Pathan, incensed him, infuriated him. On a fateful day in 2006, I'm sitting in the living room watching India versus Pakistan, a World Cup match, a test match. Irfan Pathan takes a glorious hat trick. And I'm looking at my friend's father, he's over the moon. He's unrestrainable. He's in fact forcing me and my friend to chant Pathan's name. And now that I look back, it's memorable because what the father is doing is he's ensuring his son and the next generation, you and me, are not held back by the demons that hold him and his generation back. And this is proven by Soon Wang in his paper when he says that when Japan and Korea hosted the 2002 FIFA World Cup, he observed a four-stage process of how the sport changed the social fabric of the nation and led to a generation of a prouder you and me. Stage one is a stage of reclamation when people went to the streets, they went to the gardens, and they reclaimed their land just to hold screenings of the match. Stage two of supporting when each and every house, each and every street was a quasi-stadium. Each and every citizen was the 12th man for the nation's team. Stage three is a stage of recurrence. There's a square in Korea called the Kwang Square, which on an average day takes 8 hours to clean up. The authorities were concerned because it's going to be a monumental task to clean that square after the screening of a match. They cleaned that square in 4 hours the next day, earning the epithet of human vacuum cleaners for the Koreans. The sport literally taught the people to be more conscious and more responsible. But the most important stage, stage four, stage of collective memory. And to explain this, imagine yourself going to your society's compound to watch the screening of India versus Pakistan, the World Cup match. Two things are going to happen to you. The first thing, you're going to, in that space, at that moment, each and every person is going to have one feeling of belonging to one single entity, of unity, which very few things can make us feel in this divided country. And the second thing, the next week, the next month, the next year, when you pass that space, you're going to possibly think that, I remember that day when I felt like an Indian. And this is, Wang says, this leads to a generation of the W generation, the World Cup generation, a prouder, confident, dynamic generation. Economically speaking, a new sport leads to a new economy, enhanced skill development, enhanced labor mobility, and in fact, globalization. Korea in 2002 was against globalization, but they were okay with hosting the World Cup. And economists say that this was the onset of globalization in Korea. An economic phenomenon actually channelized itself through a World Cup. A sport can hold the authorities accountable for improving the transportation and infrastructure facilities because there are deadlines to meet. A sport can reduce the crime rates of a country, as seen in Italy. A sport can reduce job absenteeism rates in a country. But most importantly, governments spend billions, millions, trillions on schemes and policies to give the lowest strata member of a society an opportunity. That is exactly what a sport does. It's my strong belief that wealth does not breed talent. Talent breeds talent. So, of course, constrained by the fact that you can push the government to give equal opportunities and facilities. If a man knows to kick a football, he knows to kick a football. There are very few things that can hold him back from making it. And now I'd just like to come to India and India's tryst with sports through the same prism of economics and sociology. There's a picture here. I think I'm at the right there. Obviously, this picture was taken yesterday. I just gained a little weight overnight. I was in the 4th standard in my school's cricket team. I won with these lads. I suffered with them. We fought for each other on the pitch. And at that moment, all my family and all I felt was, I'm learning a sport. I'm becoming half decent at it. But now that I look back, I learned something much more. And to explain that, suppose I was fielding for my team. I get the ball. There are two ends. There's a run-out opportunity. There's the bowler's end. There's the wicket-keeper's end. And there's a chance at the wicket-keeper's end. The batsman is struggling there. At that moment, when I get the ball, irrespective of how much time I have, irrespective of whatever negative conditioning goes on around me, in my peer circles, at my home, no matter what anybody tells me, I'm going to throw the ball to the wicket-keeper, even if the bowler's Gujarati and I like him more, even if the wicket-keeper's a bully and of a different color who I don't like. I'm going to throw the ball which will help my team win. And that, simply put, is so important. Because no matter what words tell you at that tender age, it's this experience that taught me. I'm not going to make a tall claim and say one of the drivers for peace in India is you sending your child to cricket coaching. No. But what I'm saying is, in a very implicit but significant way, that child who goes for football or cricket coaching learns brotherhood, learns fraternity, which he can't even spell, but he's learning these things by just playing that sport. And this has direct linkage to the creation of a prouder generation, the W generation. India right now is a blank canvas. The Northeast plays football, the North plays hockey. Each state plays whatever they want, and there's one dominant sport, cricket, which is okay. By the way, a lot of states don't recognize themselves with cricket, but that's all right. The problem is, why can't we have more alternate sports? Why can't we have important non-cricket sports? We are a population of 1.25 billion people. Our medal tally at the last Olympics was 2. That is embarrassing. And that is a pill we should refuse to swallow. We have the demographic dividend and all that jazz, and we can succeed only in one sport. Is the government at fault for this? For sure. Are the people at fault for this? For sure. We have this latent resistance to new sports, to sports that are not cricket. The opportunity is literally waiting there outside the door, but we have slammed the door shut with the bat and ball in our hand. Fortunately for us, the trends are positive. I've written a paper for academic journal in this college where I proved that a footballing dawn is coming. Football here being a proxy for any alternate sport. The ISL saw double stadium attendance, players saw a 2x rise in salary, and there were many positive spillover economic effects. And this is corroborated by the fact, 4 days ago, the Indian government launched a Transform India scheme where they pledged to reach out to 11 million children across 27,000 cities in 29 states and just teach them football. Because the important fact here is, in an alternate sport, those 11 players are going to feed their own families. They're going to feed the families of the people who manage them. They're going to feed the families of the people who make that stadium. They're going to feed the families of the people who write about them. They're going to feed the families of the people who sell their jerseys on the streets. And they're going to feed so many more families you cannot even imagine. So my advice is, the next time when you're passing your society compound and you pass 10 kids playing football, go up to them, pat them on the back, because you don't know, one day One of them might have the country's flag on his chest inside a stadium of 80,000 spectators, and he'll bring joy to a nation. He'll also bring joy to a person standing outside the stadium painting the same flag on a fan's cheek, and a day's food to that man. So pat that boy's back or that girl's back, pat their back, and tell them, go on, give it your best shot. We've got your back. And that is the beauty of sport. Thank you.